Hi everyone. I'm bringing you another fairy tale, another story from my childhood, one that I thoroughly enjoyed when I was younger, and I hope you do. It is called Stone Soup. So listen, and I hope you I hope you enjoyed as much as I did as a child, and you can play it for your kids and or just for yourself for a nice tale. Two weary travelers were walking along a dusty road. They were but poor tramps with not a penny to their name, just between the two of them. Both of them were ready to die from hunger and thirst when they came along to a rough farmer's cottage. Now, these two tramps had been traveling this part of the country for many days, begging at every place they went for some little bit of food to satisfy their hungry stomachs. But at each farmhouse and farm, it was always the same. The people of the area had little themselves for the most part, and they were used to tramps and beggars pounding on their doors, and had taken to just running them off quickly whenever they asked. Now, the first tramp looked at the second one and he said, "I am so hungry, I do not think I can last another night, nor travel another day without food. I am at my rope's end." The second tramp turned to the first and he smiled. "Do not despair yet, my friend. I have a plan." Now, at the next farmhouse they came to, it was a bit nicer than most. The mistress of the house was dressed up finer, and she had servants, and she and her children were the only ones at home. Her husband was away. "Please, madam," the first tramp smiled, "we are but weary travelers, and we hoped we might stay the night in your barn and maybe have a little bite to eat." "No, no, we have nothing to offer you two. Please be on your way, good people," said the woman, who was as stingy as her husband was when he was home. "It is only 6 more miles to the next town, where you may get everything you want there, plenty to buy, and we have neither bread nor victuals in the house." "Oh, please," said the first of the travelers, "we have come so far today, and we cannot walk another step. If we could just rest in your barn." "And as for your bread and victuals, we want neither," smiled the second tramp. "In fact, if you can only oblige us with a tolerably large cooking pot." "What for?" asked the stingy old woman. "Why, to pay you for letting us sleep in your barn. We will make you a delicious stone soup." "You're going to make us soup from a stone?" "Oh, well, if that be all," said the ill-natured woman, "we can loan you a big enough pot. But who the devil ever told you that soup could be made out of stone?" "Madam, I was taught this recipe as a young man, and I assure you it is the best soup one will ever taste. If you will just have patience," said the traveler, and only assist us with the pot and some water, you shall see." The old woman was now as intrigued as she was suspicious, so she arched her brow and asked, "How much water do you want?" "Oh, not a terrible amount. About a gallon should do it." The maid was immediately ordered to put a big pot on the fire. The two travelers then seated themselves before the fire, where the first one rested and warmed himself, while the second one removed his worn leather backpack, and setting it before him, and having with great seeming care to look within, with great circumspection, he dug out a clean linen cloth, which he began to unwrap carefully. Finally, he took from the cloth a white polished stone, and imploring the maid to bring him another clean cloth, he went carefully at that stone and he washed it as clean as possible. And soon as the water boiled, he dropped it straight into the pot. After it had lain about a quarter of an hour, he got out a spoon, and tasting it, he called out to the landlady, "Here, good woman, it is certainly not done yet, but taste it. It only takes but a drop, and it certainly has the most excellent flavor." "Flavor?" she cried. "Why, that water tastes just as it was before." The other traveler, now on to the game, put in his word. "Ah, yes, of course not. First, it is not cooked long enough, but more importantly, you have forgot to put in pot herbs." "Oho, and so I did," cried his comrade. "Why, I thought it wanted for something. Pray, good madam, would you let us have just a few pot herbs out of your garden? It only takes a few, and it makes all the difference. Wait till you taste it, how superb the soup is when it is done." And the woman, who was now even more curious than ever, quickly sent the maid into going for them. And as she headed out, the first tramp whispered into her ear, "Bring also a cabbage and some onions." The maid, smiling, returned, and quick as a flash, the two travelers chopped it all up and added it to the pot. Before long, the smell of the cabbage and the onions, along with the herbs, was beginning to smell very good indeed. "Do you see what I mean, good woman?" The second traveler smiled. "Why, if only I had 2 or 3 carrots. Why, that really sets it off. And you know, I never failed at making stone soup in my life." "Well, I'll be shot," said the farmer's wife, "if I believe you'll make it now. Still, I must admit that smell coming along is smelling really good. Maid, bring him a few carrots. If we're going to try this, we may as well make it right." "Ah, yes, carrots are just the thing. You shall see." Now, as the maid brought out the carrots, they chopped them up fast, and in they went. The two travelers made a big show of tasting it, and eyeing each other, they rolled their eyes as if they'd gone to heaven, and smiling so delightedly, the old one begged them for another taste. No, not yet. It needs a bit more cooking. And come, what else? Aha, let me have just a little salt and pepper. He now seasoned the vegetable water, and after the garden stuff had boiled some more time, he tasted the soup again. Smacking his lips and rolling his eyes, he went along with great ceremony and made a show of handing the spoon a second time to the farmer's wife. "Now, it is still not done yet, but take just a small taste and you shall see. How is it at present?" "Why," said she with much wonder, "I declare if it is not something so much better. But still, it seems to be lacking something, or you'll never make soup of it." "Well, of course, it needs more cooking, my dear. And oh, my faith," says he, smacking his lips after another taste, "why, I think it is excellent already. But have you even just a bit of beef in the house? Not much, mind you, just a bit for that extra zing." The woman frowned, and then she brightened. "I don't know, but I think there is some," said she. And glaring to her maid, she said, "From the beef roast we had 2 nights ago, there's about 2 or 3 pounds of it chopped already, isn't there?" "Why, for stone soup, there's simply nothing better." "Nothing better," cried the first tramp. "Let me have it directly. 1 or 2 stalks of celery, too, just for a bit of a kick." These ingredients were allowed him like the rest, and after a proper time, they declared the soup was ready. And calling for a dish, they poured it out, the stone appearing in the middle of the bowl. Everyone tasted it and declared that it was excellent. They all ate their fill, and for the first night in many a time, the traveling tramps were well fed and happy. "Heaven bless you," cried the farmer's wife. "You will not sleep in the barn. You will rest here by the fire and be warm. Tomorrow we will make you a nice breakfast to thank you for this excellent dinner. And you were indeed correct. This is the best stone soup I ever ate. And please, you must let me have that recipe. My good husband will be so pleased if we make him this when he returns." "Give me a piece of paper," said the traveler, "and I'll write it down for you," which he did as follows. The recipe to make stone soup: take a large soup stone, put it into sufficient quantity of boiling water, properly season it with pepper and salt, add 3 or 4 pounds of good beef, a handful of pot herbs, some onions, cabbage, and 3 or 4 carrots. When the soup is made, the stone must be thoroughly washed and put away in a nice clean linen cloth for its next use. The next morning, after the two tramps had bathed, washed their worn clothing, and had a nice filling breakfast, they got ready to set off to the next town. "Wait," cried out the woman. "I thank you kindly for that recipe, but pray, where do I buy the soup stone?" "Buy?" smiled the two tramps. "Why, you cannot just buy a soup stone. It has to be found, and only an experienced soup stone chef would know a proper one for cooking with. And the stones improve, you must understand, each time you make a stone soup, so a new one will not make as good a soup." "Oh, my dear," cried the woman, "can you sell me yours? You must know how to find one for yourselves." "Well, yes, of course," said the first tramp, "but it takes time to find just the right one and then to season it and break it in. Why, it takes years for one to reach this stage." "Goodness, I'll pay you well. 500 gold pieces," the woman cried. 700, I must have it." "Well, okay, if you must have it," smiled the tramp sadly. "And that special cloth you stored in," the woman cried. "Surely you can get another. It must be worth another 200 gold pieces." And so the tramps continued on their journey after selecting another nice polished white stone from the nearby river. They headed to the next town with a lot of money in their pockets and smiles on their faces. And that is the story. I hope you enjoyed it. Please share it. Like I said, play it for your kids, play it for yourselves, for your own enjoyment. Leave a like, subscribe if you would. The channel can use the support. And thank you for listening today. It's nice Sunday. It's a Mother's Day, and so I hope you're enjoying your day. If you're a mother and you have children, this hopefully will be a good story for them. It's a good teaching story. So thanks again for listening. Dom and Mike spoiler alert, and bring you another story. Thank you.